of the
Right.
emails.
So good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. And we're happy to have you with us. Especially today, we have Mohan from Travelscope, our DMC in India. And Mohan, you tell us a little more about Rajasthan. And so the screen is yours, Mohan. We are really here for you.
Thank you, Dominique. There we go. That's my screen. Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. Let's jump straight into our session because time is always short. Time is always on short supply, so I don't want to waste any time. Yeah, I'm just going to jump into it straight. So as we all know, Rajasthan is one of the I would say #1 destinations in India, which has attracted travelers from across the world. And what makes it special is, of course, the fascinating forts and the palaces and the amazing countryside. But there is something that lies beyond these forts, these palaces, from the chaos and the crowds of the cities to the, calm and colors of the countryside. There's a lot of, amazing experiences, and that is what we're going to touch upon. So today's, webinar is all about how to make this destination even more interesting, even more fascinating. That's why I've titled it as Rajasthan Rejuvenated. So we're rejuvenating, this wonderful destination. And adding to these experiences is the charm of some of the most, I would say some of the best boutique properties and their intimate hospitality, which makes the journey even more fascinating. So let's start. But before I go on to the next slide, we also want to tell everyone that we completed 25 years this year on the 4th of May. And it's wouldn't have been possible without the support of so many people in India and abroad, all the travel advisors, travel agents, tour operators, and the whole community of hotels and our associates, our guides, and everybody who has contributed to the success of us having completed 25 years. So thank you for that.
Bravo, Mohan.
Just to quickly kind of know what you're seeing is, of course, a little bit of how do you say, themes that are appearing on the screen, and these are all themes that are covered in the slides that are going to follow. So a very classic route of Rajasthan, a tour to Rajasthan is starting in Delhi, going to Agra, and then of course going to cities like Ranthambore, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Udaipur, and some people even extend all the way to Jaisalmer. But then there are some really amazing, hidden gems, which kind of fill this, beautiful state. Small little places which can be included between, two popular destinations, and I'll come to that later. So, like I said, what lies beyond these forts and these, amazing palaces that we have in Rajasthan? You take, for example, Jaipur. The most popular site to visit is the Amer Fort and, of course, the City Palace. But then there are other ways to discover the city. This is one of the ways to discover is, of course, on an early morning cycling trip where you go into the small little lanes and by lanes of the city, end up in a temple to watch a ceremony, or in a community park to do laughter yoga with the locals. So it's a very immersive experience. And Right to Empower, yeah, Jaipur Pink City Rickshaw. This is again an initiative to empower women who come from marginalized, income groups. And these are women who take you around the old city in these beautiful custom designed electric rickshaws. And it's again a very fascinating experience to, do this beautiful ride, chat with them, and learn about, their own lives. Bringing out your creative best. And this is a block printing workshop where you really, it brings out the best in you. I've seen clients, doing some really amazing designs and, creating a souvenir for themselves. Like, what you see here, people doing a little bit of block printing on a tote bag, and then which you get to carry and carry along with you as a souvenir. Sustainability, this is a word that has been spoken a lot particularly in recent years. One of the things to do also in our cities, particularly in these forts, is how they built these forts to make them sustainable, how they created, to capture rainwater, or created these aqueducts, which then kind of, increase the groundwater table. So it's very fascinating. You go with an expert and learn about how these sustainable systems were put in, almost 400, 500 years ago. So how that was a forethought of those people, those who built these forts. Moving on, Ranthambore has always been a very fascinating destination for travelers. And of course, the highlight is to come and, look for tigers. But it's also a great story of how we saved these tigers almost 50 years ago when we started the Project Tiger. And besides that, of course, safaris, into the national park and these wonderful custom jeeps that we take people, into the forest, but also visiting, community initiatives like this one, for example, is an initiative to skill women who come from families of, who've been, kind of previously been poachers, but their families, to rehabilitate them. And this is an initiative, and we visit and, meet all these locals working there and, see the products that they're making. Moving on, Jodhpur, again, one of the most stunning forts that, you can see in Rajasthan. But again, what is beyond these forts in Jodhpur? Immersing in the local culture and with the communities. And this is like a day out in the countryside where we meet people from different communities, who practice different kind of forms of arts and craft, like, a very special and unique form of weaving, textiles, or somebody's making some really beautiful, shoes, or just, going and, seeing how a potter is actually making, beautiful pottery. It's all a very immersive experience. Visiting a farm, again, talking about sustainability, this is actually an amazing farm, not just about an hour's drive out of Jodhpur, where you can't even imagine the kind of produce that they're growing there, including growing strawberries in the desert, and then having a very very curated dining experience, a completely planned forward meal, and it kind of again makes up a very different experience. A little bit of adventure, zip lining around the Mehrangarh Fort. This is again a very thrilling experience, I would say. Those pictures are me who's doing the zip lining here, and again, kind of, it's a rush of adrenaline, but it's amazing. There are like 5 zips around the fort, and you actually skirt around the fort, and you also get some amazing views of the old city. Experiencing folk theater. Now, this is a very fascinating experience where these, traditional folk artists come and perform. They are, of course, singing in colloquial language, but there is always someone to translate. And these are all stories that they are actually telling you, through music and a little bit of dance, and and this is a very private event overlooking the Mehrangarh Fort from a very old home in the city of Jodhpur. Restoring habitats, as as time passes, we're also losing habitat for various reasons, and this is how this habitat around the fort was revived using just native intellect, and how all the indigenous plants and trees were revived here is again a very fascinating story. Moving on to Udaipur, which is it's a city of lakes, a very beautiful city, and the beautiful city palace. But again, what is beyond the city palace? Of course, you can do your own James Bond style ride in a tuk-tuk. And I'm sure everybody has watched that movie Octopussy, and how James Bond himself is, riding on one of these tuk-tuks. So we have these these tuk-tuk drivers, and with blaring music, and navigating the whole city, which is again great fun to do this. This is a very traditional form of art. It's called Jalsanji. It's actually, it's not painted. It's actually colored powder, which they use, and they use stencils to, make these beautiful artwork, which is actually offered. It's a ritual art. It's a temple art. So it's offered as an offering to the gods in the temple, and then it kind of slowly kind of starts dissolving, and then they start making it again. It's very fascinating to see that. Well, stretching your limits on a nice yoga class around the lake, with one of our master yoga exponents. It could be done, early mornings are always the best time to do yoga. Again, depending on, the interests of the clients, these very private yoga classes can be organized. Learning about the secrets of cooking, every household has a secret recipe of spices, or a recipe of a secret kind of dishes, and unless and until you go into the kitchen and with the host, you are not going to kind of learn about it. So again, this is something that we organize, and not just in Udaipur, but it can be organized in other cities as well. But I'm just kind of giving that to you as an example. So yeah, learning to cook some really how do you say, secret recipes with the host in her kitchen, and which can also be preceded by a session of shopping for ingredients in the market, and coming back and cooking, and of course partaking in the meal. That was a little bit about the experiences, and I showed you a map at the beginning, which had only the main destinations. But now if you see, there are these very small hidden, we call them the hidden gems of Rajasthan, which are some really unique places to stay. These are forts, these are estate homes, these could be noble homes of nobles, or we call them havelis. I mean, havelis are equivalent to what you have the riads in, for example, Morocco. So these have all been painstakingly restored by the owners. Many of the owners, I would say, or rather most of the owners, have given up their active professions or their businesses, and come back to their roots to how do you say, sustain their properties, to being the custodians of the heritage that they have how do you say, inherited from their forefathers. And these are not easy to maintain, and they need very regular maintenance, and that's a lot of money that goes into maintaining these properties. And tourism is one way of maintaining them, because all the income that comes from tourism is put back into maintaining the property. And I think the biggest thing is how it kind of serves the community, how it helps the community, because all these properties are engaging people from the villages or from the towns around them, and therefore it all automatically brings employment. So this is a 17th century fort, which can, we've also tried to give you a little bit of idea of how you can include these between the two cities. So it can either be included between Agra and Ranthambore, or Agra and Jaipur, or vice versa. And the place is called Ramatra. It's a village, and as you can see, it's beautiful. It's surrounded by these very how do you say, bushy outcrop, hills and lakes. And one of the signature experiences of staying here is going on this amazing wilderness drive. It's not a protected forest, but there are wild animals, and with some luck, of course you can see wolves, you can see hyenas, you can even with some luck You never know, you might even come across a leopard. Recently, it has been in the news because there is a female tigress with her cubs, which has also made this, her home. So yeah, I mean, like amazing countryside. Shahpura Bagh, again, this can be included between Jaipur and Udaipur. And also between Jaipur and Udaipur. So it's again an estate home spread almost about 60 acres. Very beautiful swimming pool, amazing rooms, and amazing all these properties. I think the one thing that kind of really makes them special is the hosts, because the hosts are there to personally, so it's a very intimate experience. The hosts are there to personally look after their guests, and you're tasting some of the best food that you will never taste in a hotel restaurant, and exploring the countryside, learning about the culture, arts and crafts. Here, for me, the signature experience is going to their private fort, which is about like half an hour's drive from their estate home. So you drive there, and it's a kind of a little bit of a climb to reach on this beautiful turret where they set up dinner for you. There is, so the food is cooked in the estate home. It's brought here. They have a kitchen here. They heat up the food, and then, of course, there's some wine, there are bubblies, and there's someone who's beautiful attire, the turban, who's serving you. So yeah, it's a very magical dining experience. Moving on, yes, this is another wonderful place. It's called Chhatrasagar, which literally means Sagar in Hindi actually means, the word is actually an ocean. As you can see from the room, you are overlooking into a very beautiful lake. This is, of course, a lake which is fed primarily by rainwater, but it holds the rainwater throughout the year. So it's and you can see a lot of trees around there. It also attracts a lot of migratory birds. So one of the signature experiences when you stay here is doing a very beautiful birding walk where you see some really endemic and migratory birds. These birds actually come from as far as Siberia to Rajasthan in our winters when it is really cold up there. These cranes and fly all the way down to Rajasthan and make this home for a few months before they start flying back. And of course, the accommodations are really amazing. This is really glamping in the true sense. There's a group called the RAS Group, which has, created these very luxurious accommodation. Each tent is overlooking the water. It has its own beautiful sit out, comfortable beds, air conditioning, bathroom, running hot and cold water. All the, conceivable luxury that you need is available here. This is, like I said, going on these birding walks, exploring this countryside. What again makes these places very special is, it gives you that interlude of a few days of calm before you again get into the chaos. When I say chaos, I mean, our cities are crowded, I mean, and as time passes, they're becoming even more crowded. And we also have to, find a way of how we, how do you say, schedule our, the visits in our cities. Like we're already looking at going to the Amer Fort late in the afternoon rather than going in the morning, because, that's a time when it is less crowded. So kind of trying to make all these adjustments. But these places are, in the true sense, where you can really kind of put your feet up, read a book, these places give you the sense of being on a real holiday, actually. Otherwise, you're seeing a lot in India. Mihirgarh, this is very close to Jodhpur, just about an hour. It's only a small 9-room property. It's like a mud fort, which has, rooms either with a, private plunge pool or a jacuzzi within the room. Again, right in the middle of the countryside. Nothing you see, all you see is bush all around you, and some wildlife. Like this place has this chinkaras, is the species of antelopes, which again the locals protect it, And of course, you savor some really amazing meals. But one of the highlights of staying at Mihirgarh is, seeing these beautiful Marwadi breed of horses. The Marwadis are an indigenous breed, which was used, in the olden days for travel, for even for fight, during wars, they used these horses. So they're very sturdy horses, and these are also used, how do you say, for riding, in the countryside. So if your clients are, riders and interested in, going around the countryside, this is one of the best places to ride a Marwadi horse. The owners themselves are very avid riders, and there is a possibility that you can go for a, beautiful morning ride with the owner. They have their own stables, they breed their own horses, and yeah, so it's one of those very beautiful experiences. This is a place called Chanodgarh. Chanodgarh is actually, again, it's a heritage hotel. As you can see, its antiquity is very visible. It's an old palatial home of a noble family, which has been converted into a very beautiful heritage hotel, I would say. And one of the highlights for me for staying in Chanodgarh is savoring some amazing food which comes from the family kitchen. The owners are there, and very interesting people to talk to. The village walk is really amazing. Go on a walk with one of the village elders, and just learn more about the culture of the place. But what they do is that in the evening, they take you to this, they have these salt pans, salt flats. Basically, it's around a water body. And these are some amazing sunsets that you can see. And what you see, those black dots are actually, these are these bar-headed geese, which migrate here during the winters. And, they come in like hundreds and thousands. Sometimes you can just hear them, like chirping. And it's an amazing experience to go there around sunset. So they take you on these four-wheel drive jeeps, and they set up a nice kind of make a nice setup. You have sundowners, tea, coffee, depending on, and then yeah, it's a very beautiful experience to see the sunset. And of course, staying in all these properties, as I said, is, again, each owner is very different. I think the properties are all very representative of the owner's personalities in some way or the other, and that makes it even more special. And yeah, so these are kind of some amazing experiences that one can include in Rajasthan. This is Narlai, one of the most. This place has almost about 400 temples, which you actually can't see like that, but it has almost 400 small little temples around it. One of the beautiful experiences is to trek up that hill that you see, and actually on the top, that white structure is actually the statue of an elephant. And early morning, when you go up there and you see a very beautiful sunrise, and the whole countryside around it is amazing, and the property itself is so beautiful. For me, again, the signature experience of going to Narlai is doing this very unique dining experience. This is actually a very old stepwell. This stepwell is almost 800 years old, and it belongs to the family who owned the property. When they bought it along with the stepwell, and they light the stepwell with about 500 candles or lamps, and then they do a dinner. They set up tables around this. There's fresh breads being made by the locals. There is food coming. There is, of course, a bar they set up. It's magical in the evening to go and have a beautiful dining experience. So yeah, Narlai is, again, one of my favorite places. Of course, I think many of you must have heard about the Sujan Javai Leopard Camp. This is a property that it's a tented camp. Many of our clients have commented that it is one of the most luxurious camps that they've stayed in. And this was all renovated during COVID. So what you see is a very renovated camp. And they have created a mini sanctuary around the property. And one of the highlights, of course, while staying in Jawai is, of course, meet these shepherds, the community of shepherds who are called the Rabadis. But then also there is a population of leopards in this area. So you do these leopard safaris and, try to, look for, these wonderful spotted creatures. Wildlife sighting is never guaranteed, but there are very good chances of seeing leopards, at Jawai. And I'll end this with this wonderful property called Ras Devigarh. Again, that is a property that is owned and managed by the Ras Group. So the Ras Group has properties in Jaipur, which is the Ras Raj Mahal, and the Ras Haveli in Jodhpur, the Ras Chhatrasagar, which I showed you, and this is Ras Devigarh. They also have a program called the Ras Hopper, like the grasshopper. So you stay in 4 of these properties, and you get some special kind of discounts on their prices as well. Of course, we have contracted rates with all these properties. And again, it's very close to Udaipur. I would never substitute a stay in Udaipur with Devigarh, but I would say stay 2 nights in Udaipur and maybe end with 2 nights in Devigarh, or stay 3 nights in Devigarh and then do a day trip to Udaipur. But there are many ways of doing it. So these are, like I said, some of the hidden gems that you can actually weave into an itinerary in Rajasthan. Very fascinating, and that's what makes the whole trip very different. That's what I would say rejuvenates the destination. Otherwise, one ends up just visiting forts after forts and palaces after palaces. Of course, they are fascinating, no doubt about it. But then getting these, giving your clients these hands-on experiences, I think makes the trip, very, very special. I just wanted to bring this up. This is a very recent testimonial. And David kindly agreed that I can feature this on my presentation. And thank you, David, for that. He had a client who traveled with us last month, and they had a wonderful time. They did a trip to Rajasthan, and they also went to the eastern part of India. They traveled escorted by one of our hosts. And I always tell all the advisors that one of the best ways of traveling is, traveling accompanied by one of our host guides. Makes a hell of a lot of difference, adds a great value to the trip. And we have a, wonderful panel of host guides who can, escort your clients, throughout, the trip. So makes the trip amazing. These are some of our, details that I want to share with you. Besides India, we can also service requests for Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. I've just come back from a 8-day trip to Bhutan, and it's been I would say a trip of discovery. I've returned back after a long time. Lots happening in Bhutan. Some really amazing properties have come up. Of course, we have the Amans and the Six Senses and the Uma Paro, but there are also some really new properties have come up, like the And Beyond property in Punakha or the Bhutan Spirit Sanctuary in Paro. So yes, write to us if you have requests for Bhutan. We'll be very happy to assist you. And of course, Nepal and Sri Lanka as well. Just to quickly wrap up, we are a full service DMC. We do, tailored itineraries inclusive of accommodations, ground transportation, guiding, experiences, domestic flights, private charters. All itineraries are tailored. We can white label the itineraries with your logo. We get into ideation calls with you, with your clients. When we are, designing a trip, we can give you gross or net rates as you like it. And of course, responses are 24 to 48 hours. And always our aim and our objective has always been to make sure that you have a very worry-free experience while working with us. Some booking terms, again, just bring it up for your information. 25% advance, balance 60 to 90 days, depending on when they're traveling. Payment options, you have wire, credit cards. Card payments are always subject to 3% processing fee. and commissions processed immediately upon completion of the tour. Thank you so much, and that's all there is from me, Dominique. I hope that went well, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mohan. That was fascinating. I'm sure everyone would agree with me. And just not to show all these little activities and, sportives or more arty. I think that was wonderful. I would love to do that trip. That's all I can say at the end, because really it's quite amazing. And the
Sorry,
beautiful location of the hotels or the private retreats. They are spectacular, huh?
they're amazing.
The stopover or the detour, huh? Totally.
And the best part is that, they're all how do you say, located in such a way that you can include them between two cities. So if you're talking about between Agra and Jaipur or Jodhpur, or anyway, there are so many different permutation combinations. That's where we come into the picture. We know how to kind of, how do you say, fit them into an itinerary. So yeah, always call us, write to us, and we'll tell you,
But it's
make
nice.
use of our expertise.
A family is never homogeneous, so somebody's going to want to maybe go to see the jaguar or the tiger, but somebody else might just want to maybe have a good homemade cooking classes. And if you have kids or if you have sporty people, then you fit everybody in that, every interest. Huh? So
Absolutely. That's why in the beginning, I said that, these are all the, themes or elements or, that we can touch on. There is something in it for everyone, actually, every interest.
But I would do everything because I feel I'm a bit of everybody targeting. I love everything you show. Just for me, I would say.
Let's do a FAM and get some people.
So and I love horse riding. So now I discover that race of horses. I
there
didn't
you go.
know. So you see, and I love. You would be looking at my apartment right now, and you would see a gigantic jaguar. It's a statue only, but you see everything, a little bit of everything. So
absolutely.
I
can see some questions on the Q&A. So maybe Rana, Manik, you can, I don't know, answer them, or just take a screenshot and so that we can email those responses.
But maybe you have Laura is asking what location can fit into a 9 days itinerary while still delivering a quality experience.
So if you're talking about the destination that we are presenting today, we could do a Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, Udaipur, 9-10 days, I would say. At least I would say give us 10 days at least. And we can do Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, and Udaipur for four destinations.
So what you show us today, we could do it in, what do you see, like 10 days, everything you show us?
We could do not everything in 10 days, Dominique, but well, at least we can pick one of those smaller hidden gems and add it between two destinations.
Oh, because the whole trip was fantastic. Huh?
I mean, to have everything in that itinerary probably might take 3 weeks.
But sometimes if people were on a honeymoon or retired 3 weeks, it's not impossible. Huh? Voilà.
Yeah.
Going on a cruise for that long. So, and it's interesting. So, Gabriela.
And we can share a Dropbox link with all the participants with our sample itineraries, and they can look at it. And this is just for idea. And then, of course, everything can be tailored,
Gabriela wants to know how many days are needed to cover the most interesting part of the presentation and make it in a complete trip. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks, huh?
At least 2 weeks on ground.
So Gabriela, you're saying very interesting places. Thank you. I agree, Gabriela. And Gabriela is on the farm with me. Hello?
We'll come back with details of the fan. We have to discuss that, Dominique. When we meet next month, we have to discuss that.
So Savitri would like to know how expensive are those properties?
Depends, I mean, I would say anywhere from about, let's say, $350 and upwards. So it could be $350 to $500, $550, But then these properties, the thing is that, your meals come included because you're not going out to eat anywhere. So you eat in the property and, meals are all there and so yeah, I would say 350 and upward, 350 to 500, 550, depending on which one.
I'm sure everyone agree with the picture you showed us. the price is very good, especially if we compare with.
Yeah, I'm just saying that starting price,
Well,
because like one property may be less and the other property more, like Mihirgarh would be a little more expensive where the horses are, because then, that's a little more upscale compared to, let's say, Eramatra Fort, so it depends.
So Hope wants to say something. Mohan and his team thinks beyond the norm of hotel that we know of India and the properties of what make these areas so more interesting. I have worked with Mohan for over 20 years and he's very dedicated to our advisor community. Wow, that's beautiful, Hope. Huh?
Thank you, Hope. Thank you. And one of the pictures I shared, it was Hope and me in Ranthambore National Park.
I knew it like sounds familiar. And thank you, David, because that was a very nice way to finish when David authorized you to actually show
Yeah.
the emails. Voilà.
Yeah, that is really nice, David. Yes. Thank you, David.
Simon wants to know, are they Virtuoso Hotel or do you offer amenities?
So, we have our own contracted rates with hotels, so the amenities can always be added. So usually the Virtuoso amenities is like a $100 credit for which or like a dinner and an upgrade. So upgrade is always subject to availability, and you can be rest assured that if there is a room available, our clients are always upgraded. We do special notes to GMs when we have clients staying there. And we work very closely with all the hotel partners, and we've been in this business Travelscope for 25 years, but personally I also completed 40 years in the travel industry here, so we have good solid relationship with all the hotel chains. Yeah.
So basically, if somebody can have amenities, that would be you, you and your team for them. Well,
100%.
so Simon said, great, thank you for letting me know. Beautiful presentation. I was born in Bombay. Oh, I didn't know, Simone. Oh, all right. So, but really, it was very exciting to see what we saw today. And I think everybody it's a great alternative to many things, even.
And I also want to say that I will be bringing these Infinite India. So next time when we do a webinar, we'll pick up another region of India. And I started with Rajasthan because everybody knows that destination. But the next time we do, we're going to do another region of India. We'll continue doing this.
So you can see Mohan will be sending you the recording, but you can see all the recordings on our YouTube channel, Dominique Debay Collection. You can also meet, if you want to discuss an itinerary, you can meet with Srirona on our meeting platform, www.letsconnect365.com, and have a 15-minute meeting or more. And you can bring your clients on board. So imagine if you would see something like we saw today, I think he's ready to sign. I would.
And yeah, absolutely. And you can always write to us. We, either on our general contact email ID or my personal email ID. We'll share all that with you when we send you the recording and the follow-up. Yeah.
I see Jasmine, she wants Pondicherry, please.
Oh, yes, absolutely. What a beautiful place. It's in southern India, so about 2 hours from Chennai. Beautiful, on the coast. It was a French colony as late as the early 1960s.
Well, I do not see any more questions, so we're going to say goodbye. We took a little longer, but I think it was so interesting, and it was a wonderful way to spend time with you.
Thank you.
So we'll look to see you for the next part of India.
Yes, and I am looking forward to meeting you in like a little under a month now.
Exactly. And thank you for your team for joining us. Thank you, everyone. And
thank you.
I see Laura. Thank you very much. What a beautiful destination. Add me to the list of the next fun.
Sure.
Perfect. You see, we're gonna have a nice. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank
and
you.
Today we have 2 other webinars. We're gonna go to Bawa Reserve in Indonesia at 1 p.m. and then we are going to go to New Zealand at 2 p.m. Eastern
Oh my
time.
God. Well. Well, you're staying. You're staying east today, India, Indonesia, New Zealand. So
we are very proud to have you with us in our collection because you're extremely knowledgeable, and I don't know, it's a pleasure, and the feedback we have is amazing. So
thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.